And we got a great conversation happening now as we talk with Kathy Geist from the Mason Transit Authority. She's the manager of the Transit Community Center. Good morning.
Hello.
How
Good
are
morning.
you?
I'm awesome.
First things first, thanks for this sweet new hat
I
that
know,
says I love
totally.
transit on it.
I love those hats.
I do love transit.
Only very special people are getting those, by the
I
way.
love talking transit.
Yeah.
And I love MTA. So what's been going on? What are we doing today? We're going on a trip, aren't we, together?
Right. And so it's a little thing I'm going to be doing. I'm going to try to be real creative on a lot of the trips I'm going to take.
Okay.
I want to use transit. I want to use light rail. I want to use the big bus, Greyhound,
Yep.
maybe Portland, Seattle. But the whole idea is to let people know exactly how easy and really pretty cheap it is to get around by using public transportation.
I mean, we said $1.50 or something.
Oh
You
my
can
gosh,
get-
yeah.
Tell me
So
about this.
so you can get from downtown Shelton
Okay.
to downtown Seattle for $1.50. And so how that works is, I know every time I say it, people's like, really?
How is
Yeah,
that
no, it's
possible?
always been that way. So we're free in county. Everybody knows that.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you go to Belfair, so you're going to get to Belfair, and then at Belfair you pay $1.50 because you're going to leave the county at that point.
Okay.
That takes you right to the Bremerton Ferry, steps away from the Bremerton Ferry.
Mm-hmm.
Bremerton Ferry is free to go over to Seattle, and then you have to pay to come back. So basically, your round trip is going to be $11.20 because you're
pretty
paying the
good
ferry
deal.
to get back.
Okay.
So, and then that's full fare. Seniors, $7.20. Youth, $7.20. Round trip from Shelton to Seattle.
But how convenient is it really? I mean,
It's
is
totally
it-
convenient.
You have to wait for bus transfers and wait for the ferries, or is it?
So there's only basically one transfer. You're going to get to Belfair. You stay on the bus there, and then you just go right into the ferry. So you don't transfer on the bus from Shelton to the ferry.
Okay.
I think there's one route where there's a little bit of a wait, and you can get off if you want to, but there's no need to. And then one of the things coming back on the ferry is that there's several different choices. So my trip was 6:40 a.m. I left,
Okay.
right, downtown Shelton, and I arrived at 9:45 in downtown Seattle.
I mean, that's perfect because most businesses, like if you're going to go on a shopping adventure,
Right.
they don't mostly open till 10.
Exactly. And once you get to Seattle, there's all sorts of free stuff to do. And you
yeah.
really don't have to spend any money in Seattle if you don't
Yeah.
want to. But all the other attractions are within, the aquarium's within a mile and a half. I brought, so
You did. You
you're
brought
going to see
props
everybody
here, so
like
make
it's
sure
the
you
radio,
watch the
but you have
video
to
and you-
see. Yeah, that's totally
Who's
cute.
that
I would
cutie?
have brought a real one, but
What's
they're
going on
kind of
there?
nasty when you try to catch them.
You'll bring them
And
to the
fisheries
studio.
doesn't like that. So, yeah. So, and then we didn't want to talk about the new fast ferry.
Yeah.
That's some crazy stuff. Kitsap Transit has launched their fast ferry, 28 minutes from Bremerton to Seattle.
How fast is this thing?
The fast ferry?
Yeah.
Totally fast. And the way that they were able to do it is because of the wake. There was the big deal about when they tried to run the fast ferries before, all the people along that area there were not happy because it was causing problems with their bulkheads and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Now Kitsap Transit, not State Ferries, Kitsap Transit is doing the fast ferry, and it's 28 minutes from downtown Bremerton to downtown Seattle.
Man, that's a game changer.
It's a total game changer for Bremerton, and that's what they're saying. And they're actually even talking about it being a game changer for us because you're going to come from into North Mason. That traffic's going to start, and the people are going to start moving this way. One of the things I found out, I'm going to get off on something else, but I had such a great trip because I got to talk to so many different writers. And so on my way back, this is something to know. So if you go up there, your last chance to come back by bus and get back to Shelton by bus is 5:35.
Okay.
Right? So you got to take that last ferry. Now, we have guaranteed recovery on that last run, but you need to call us. So if you're on that last run and it's our last bus, which gets into Shelton at 7:40, you need to call us. The 427-5033 and let us know you're on the ferry. It's late. We typically wait anyway if we know the ferry's late, that last run. We can't wait on all the other ones because that puts us behind on everything else. But one of the things I found coming back, I rode with a lot of PSNS guys and people. And there was actually 2 people on there that worked for Port of Seattle, and they live on Harstein Island.
Wow.
Yeah, and they it's worth it to them. It's worth it to them to take the bus and live on Harstein because the one guy that I talked to, he used to live in Kirkland, and he said that his commute is less time or maybe the same, depending on traffic, of course, that it was driving from Kirkland to Seattle downtown.
Wow.
Where he works.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
And then you can get full-on passes for the whole month. And then where he works, the Port of Seattle, they help him. They'll pay $20 towards, a lot of agencies will do that. They'll pay you a little bit if you take public transit or ride your bike or walk, that kind of thing. And he's been doing it for a long time. Wakes up at like 4:30 in the morning and gets up there. So I was like, yeah, I wondered how many people did that from Mason County. I live in Union, and I know that there's some people moving into Union full time now that used to just live there for the summer and still work in downtown Seattle. So they leave Union, go park at Bremerton, take the ferry. Now, one of the things that you can think about, too, is if you can't get into the TCC to catch the bus, then we have Dial-A-Ride. And so if you're in that kind of a situation, call us at that 427-5033 number, and maybe we can get our Dial-A-Ride out there to pick you up so that it's feasible that you could never step foot in a car and get to Seattle and spend the whole day in Seattle and come back.
I'm at masontransit.org, the website for the Mason Transit Authority. Right there on there is a trip planner. And is this able to visualize what we're talking about here? You can say, I want to start in Shelton, I want to end in Seattle, and it'll take care of everything with the ferries and the transfers.
Yes, and a human person. Are absolutely fantastic operations people. They love to help people through this kind of stuff. If you called them, they would actually ask you where you live and tell you exactly which buses to take, which ferry to take, everything. You just have to tell them where you want to go and when you want to do it. The
other good thing, too, is following Mason Transit on Twitter for all the rider alerts and updates.
Absolutely.
The hashtag MTA alert will update you with those types of information. The 427, I'm going to say 360 now.
Yes, that's right.
360-427-5033. Or there is an 800 line at 374-3747. So you can get up to Seattle in what's the normal time on the Bremerton to Seattle ferry? It's about an hour?
Let me see. Yeah, it's 45 minutes. 40 minutes, 45. Yeah. It just depends on if they're... Now, I didn't take the last run. I just went over and came back. I walked around to see how long it would take me to get to different areas. I walked to Westlake. That's a big walk. So if you're not, it's a big walk and it's up. You can take the elevator to the market. And so you're okay with that. But to get to Westlake, you're going to if you're walking, you're going to hit some hills. Okay. And it's a pretty good walk. I just wanted to see how long it would take me. It took me about 25 minutes. But I'm a walker. So, if you're not, if you don't want to walk that
uphill
far.
One way, right?
Exactly. And then it's fast coming down. You little push. Yeah. So I actually didn't get to take the bus that I wanted to get because the ferry was 18 minutes late. Right. Yeah. And so then I ended up staying in Bremerton for about 40 minutes, which is another thing I wanted to talk about a little bit. Bremerton, like you say, game changer. The last time I was in Bremerton was probably 9 months ago. And I know people that in downtown Bremerton. I know a couple ladies that own shops in downtown Bremerton. And it's changing like crazy. There's all this redevelopment going on and all these buildings that have been empty for so long. They've got big cranes in them and they're all, getting redeveloped and fixed up and refurbished. And I asked a couple of the businesses downtown about it, and I think their goal, what they're hoping is they're going to have these people that live in Bremerton and work in Seattle or live in Mason County and work in Seattle. Yeah. And then that they'll, their hopes are that downtown Bremerton will become a community again. And even though those people might not do all their shopping in Bremerton and all that, if they live downtown in a condo or an apartment, they'll make downtown their community and adopt it again. And that's what Bremerton needs. It struggled for a long time.
Yeah, it did.
But it doesn't look like it's struggling now. So I was actually kind of glad that the ferry was late. I missed my bus.
And you got a chance to look around.
Yeah, and talk to a few people. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, these are fun conversations we'll be having. So this time we went north. Next time, where are we going? West? Going to the ocean, maybe?
I'm actually going to SeaTac next.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because we actually have a lot of riders that use buses to get to SeaTac so they don't have to park their car.
Well, it makes sense. Save some money on parking.
Oh, I wanted to talk about that. I did do comparison to what it would cost me to drive my 2011 Subaru Outback, and in fuel and parking, and it's about $20 to $25 if I were to drive up there and park, right? So why would you spend more than double to get up there. And there's no guarantee that it would take me any less time
Sure.
to get up there than I did using the ferry and the bus. And I got to meet a lot of people. I got to see everything around me. And the ferry's always a wonderful trip.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
Okay,
The
good.
ferry. Oh, wait. Oh,
Yeah.
I got to do the ferry.
Oh,
Yeah,
she
the
brought
ferry.
a fairy horn.
Did that sound like a fairy?
No.
It sounded like a sick duck.
I was at a like a Goodwill down in California this weekend, and I came across a yeoman's whistle. I should have bought it.
You
We could have had
totally
a-
did. You're the one that told me to bring props, mister.
Oh, man, all right. Kathy Geist from Mason Transit. She manages the Transit Community Center, and we're going to talk often about ways to get out of town for very limited resources on the buses. $1.50 gets you to Seattle, about $11 for that round trip. And you can find all this information and services at masontransit.org. Also on Facebook and Twitter. We'll put the links on the show notes when we post this. Thanks for coming in, Kathy.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's always good to see you.